world. My name is Caitlin and I love knitting, crocheting, reading, and making animal friends. I am also a librarian, so I hope you don't mind if I share a book recommendation or two with you. So I hope you can relax a while with me and listen to me ramble on about some of the things I'm excited about. So I want to talk to you today about the Make 9. I first heard about this concept from Leslie's channel. Her channel is called Knit California. And I think she got it from another person, but when I Googled it, it's been around for a couple of years. So if you're not familiar with Make 9, basically instead of setting like a New Year's resolution, you come up with 9 things that you want to create throughout the course of the year. So I've been working on my list for about a week now. I thought I had it together and was ready to film this video, and then I realized I wasn't as excited about 3 of them as I felt that I should have been. So I went back and I thought more about it, and I think I'm pretty solid on the ones that I picked now. So let's get started. Okay, so my first pick is Forrest the Bison, and this is from a new book that I just got called Moosh and Friends, and I want to grab the book, so give me 1 second. Whew, I found it. So this is the book. It's by Cinthia Vallet, and there's, the thing that really got me excited about this book originally is that the toys are knit seamlessly. I think I've mentioned this before. You start at the top or the snout, depending on the character that you're creating, and you just knit around and around and around without having to do, cast off and cast on and then sew everything up at the end. So I really like that. I feel like they'll go a lot faster than my other knitted animal friends that I do. And to be honest, I really had a hard time choosing which character to put onto my Make 9. Tino is so cute, Tino the wolf. But like I said, I did choose Forrest. Oh, but they're all so cute. Augie. Okay, let me show you Forrest. So Forrest's little blurb about him, they all have a story. Okay, so Forrest was born in Alaska. He used to travel around the world until he found Aunt Moosh's wood. Forrest takes his camera everywhere, hiking, fishing, and camping. And it calls for fingering weight yarn. It shouldn't be a lot of yarn. I don't know too much about it as far as the construction that goes into it. I'll just expect to learn at least 1 or 2 new skills with this pattern because I don't think I've ever made an animal this way. So I'm really, really excited about number 1, Forrest the Bison. Number 2 on my list is the Rocket Tee by Tannis Lavallee. And this is actually an oldie but goodie. I already made a rocket tee, but I made it several years ago, and I really want to make another one because the one that I made, though I love it, is very close fitting and has negative ease, where this pattern actually suggests that you go for about 6 inches of positive ease. So I'm really excited to have a more breezy kind of tee fit. Also, I think that might be something I'll tackle in the summer. Though I do have some yarn that I'm itching to use, so we'll see what wins out if I get more excited about using the yarn up right away. So the yarn I have in mind is Emma's yarn, and it's, I think, called Mo Slub. And I'll put a picture of it up because if I had to go find it in my closet right now, this video wouldn't get made. But it is in there and I'm looking forward to using it. Number 3 on my Make 9 list is the Ranunculus. Now, I have never made a Ranunculus. I know they've been around for a while, this pattern, and it seems like pretty much everyone has made it. At this point, there are 21.7 thousand projects listed on Ravelry for the Ranunculus, and I'm sure that there's people who've made it and that haven't put up a project because I'm pretty terrible about remembering to post my projects on Ravelry. So I've always liked the ranunculus. In fact, Mom gifted me a ranunculus that I do wear. I know there's different ways of styling it. Like some people are doing really open and some people are doing long sleeve and short sleeve. So I haven't really decided which way I want to go, but it's something that I've always wanted to make and just to be a part of the ranunculus crowd. And I haven't yet, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity to put it on my list because I know I want to make it. Number 4 on my list is called the Crosswrap. It's by BebaBlanket and it's a crochet pattern. I'm really excited about this. For some reason, I keep coming back to it, and that's the reason it ended up on my list. So I love the style. It's something you can easily throw over pretty much any underlayer, whether it's a tank or a long sleeve or even a sweatshirt or even a sweater, to add an extra layer of warmth. I think it's really stylish, and there's something like almost warrior-like about it. I don't know, that's the vibe I get. Just the crossed front seems like powerful. I'm also really excited to learn a new skill in crochet. Most of the crocheting I ever do is related to amigurumi. There's maybe been one exception that I crocheted a top, but I don't think I finished it. And behind me, which you can barely see, is the ninja mosaic blanket that I made when I was in college, and that's crocheted. But anyway, back to the crossed wrap. The crossed wrap is mosaic, I think it's called overlay mosaic crochet. So I've never done this before, and what I've read about so far is that typically you only work one side of the crochet. So this pattern includes videos explaining how to do it and a way that you can do it in the round so that you don't have to seam in or weave in all the ends. I'm really excited to try this new pattern and learn this new skill, and hopefully the tutorial is clear because I didn't really see too many great tutorials online. Hopefully this has enough support out there. There's only been 19 projects, but a couple of comments and a forum post. So we'll see how it goes. And you know what? This is all for fun. If it doesn't work out, there's like a couple different things I could do besides it. But I am really excited to try this. Hoi! For number 5 on my Make 9 list, I would like to make the Studio 54 crop. And this pattern is by Shay Johnson. I discovered Shay when surfing the Hot Right Now patterns page on Ravelry a couple months back. And I went through lots and lots of her designs, and I really like many of them. But there's something about that style of wrap. I don't know, I like crossing in front for some reason because I just realized that's a common theme between the last 2 patterns. But this one, it's more of a snug fit, though she does say you can choose to put in some more positive ease, of course. And it crosses in the front and then you can tie it. And I saw one project that I'm going to put up that I love the way they did the tie, that it kind of had like a tassel on the end of it. It was just super cute. So I chose this pattern actually last night when I made my final decision on it, and I was telling my boyfriend, and I was like, Studio 54, isn't that like something? Because her description of the pattern references how she was doing Knitflix and chill, which is super cute, and watching a documentary on Netflix about Studio 54, and I didn't know a thing about Studio 54. So we watched a short video on YouTube about Studio 54, and it sounds pretty spectacular. I know it ended in ruin, and there was a lot of illicit drugs that were done during the heyday, and also some tax evasion, but interesting nonetheless. And I like the idea of like the bright colors and kind of the 70s feel of the Studio 54 crop, and I think it's kind of a nice homage to Studio 54. Number 6 on my list is the Ariana by Amy Christoffers. And this design is published in Barocco. And it's a granny square cardigan. Now, there's a lot of things I love about this. I've never made a cardigan. No, I've never made a cardigan. And the reason I haven't is I've never felt like I wanted to knit back and knit and purl back, which is usually what's involved in doing a cardigan. I suppose there's other stitch patterns out there that I could do, but I wanted to avoid that if I could. And what I love about this one is it's a crochet granny square, so you're not actually knitting at all, or purling at all for that matter. I've done a granny square before, I've done lots of granny squares before, and I really enjoy them. I find it very meditative, and I love the overall effect of the colors when they kind of burst out of the center. So I'm really excited about this. And then the button band and cuffs are all knit. So that'll kind of give it a very finished edge to it. I'm really looking forward to making this. This is another one that I keep looking at over and over, and probably the only reason I haven't done it yet is because I don't have the yarn and I'm not really sure what yarn I would use. That's to be decided, but it's definitely on my list. I really want to make that in 2024. Number 7 on my Make 9 list is the Sweet Shop Blanket by Laura Penrose. I love this blanket. I haven't made a blanket in a long time. I've made a few blankets in my day. One, which I just talked about before, crocheted. I made one for my, one of my really good friends or two of my really good friends actually that were getting married when I was in college. I made the Nikki Epstein counterpane Afghan knitted. And I did that while I was on a road trip with my friend Rachel, where I made squares and 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 then crocheted them all together. And I do believe I finished that the night before the wedding in the hotel room. So that was a big undertaking. And then I remember making one other sampler Afghan winter themed for my parents. Other than that, I think those are all the blankets I've made. And this is something that I find really classy. To me, this blanket looks more like a quilt than an Afghan, and I really like that look. The triangles allow for the yarn to really show off the colors. So I think, sorry, I hit the camera. I think I need to choose yarn I'm really in love with. My concern is the cost of doing a blanket the size I want, because I like to be cozy. So I mean, I'm a like toes to chin blanket kind of person. I don't know if I'd be happy just with a lap blanket, but we'll see what happens. It's kind of interesting that Laura says that the difficulty level of this pattern is actually intermediate. I think people think it should be really easy because geometrically it looks really easy, but she did say it's not a beginner pattern and that you should have experience with picking up stitches and short rows. And there are also diagrams and schematics. So I feel pretty comfortable with those things. So the Sweet Shop blanket I think is so cute, and it's something also that I could do any time of year, because a blanket is a blanket is a blanket. It's not like winter blanket, summer blanket, you know? Number 8, I think. This is one that got added last minute. Last night I was going through my list again, and I remembered seeing a sweater at Rhinebeck this year. I can't remember the name of the booth, but it was cat, like a very simply, not drawn, patterned cat on a sweater front, like a huge cat. So I found this, I just started searching cat sweater, two of my loves, and I found this Professor Meow sweater that I think is adorable. It's by Claire Slade, and I think it's a Knit Picks pattern. Yeah, it's available from the Knit Picks website, which I started listening to their audio podcast, and I really like it. I'm a little bit behind now because I've been doing more book listening than podcast listening, like just lately. But anyway, I love this sweater. It's a short sleeve cap sleeve sweater. The sweater is constructed from the bottom up, and the design of the cat is only on the front, so it's not going to be too much. I think that's called intarsia knitting, where you're not actually alternating colors. You just do a block of the one and then, you know, a new ball and then a new ball. So I don't think it'll be too challenging of a pattern, except maybe for keeping my place in the pattern. Though I've gotten better about that. I do take really good notes when I'm like tallies, tick marks and things. I have a whole system. So that's the Professor Meow sweater, and that I might do sooner than later. The yarn weight it calls for is bulky weight. See, I'm almost tempted to take out the Bryce vest and do this sweater in it, but I'm gonna have the same problem. But I think I like the idea of like a gray and black. Either that or maybe like a hot pink and like bright yellow. Oh, I could have fun with the colors. I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna decide, but that's definitely on my list. Okay, and now for the very last one, which I can't remember. Oh, yes, so this is a little bit anticlimactic. The Fish Lips Kiss Heel. And I was just talking about it in my last video about having some confusion with the gusset, and I've heard Nitty Natty talk about the Fish Lips Kiss Heel over and over, and I just haven't taken the time or interest really to like go so far as to purchase the pattern and learn a new way of doing the sock. But I really want to know how to do it, and I really want to try out the technique. So this might be my new favorite heel. I don't know. I'm not one to really care to experiment too much with socks, but if there's a way to make them that is either easier or more like fitting or comfortable in some way, then I'm all about that. So I finally put it on my list. It is by the Socks Therapist. It's not really too much of an investment either. It's only $2.50. So what really impressed me is she says, knit cuff down or toe up with one simple design. No wraps, no gaps, no maths, no flaps or gussets, so no picking up stitches, not even pick up a mystery stitch somewhere in the corner and remember to knit it away on the next round. No counting. Heels will now be the easiest part of the sock, so you can knit them at knit night or while watching TV without ever getting lost or messing up. Your stitch count stays the same, easy peasy. It's blindingly obvious where you make your short row turns, so no guessing where the gaps are. And because there are no gaps, I can't even conceive of such a sock heel. It's very neat looking. So that's the end of my Make 9 list. And I decided I'm going to be a little bit flexible with it because things change, my interests change, and I'm a mood knitter overall and crocheter. But I am happy with the variety. I've got both knitting and crochet. One of my amigurumis, actually he's a knitted amigurumi, but that's still amigurumi, I believe. And some things that include techniques I'm interested to learn. So granted, there are things that I have in mind that I really want to make that I did not put on that list. But the list I'm kind of using as like, remember, Caitlin, you really want to try this, so why not try it now? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I'll be back next week, and we'll be talking about some Valentine-inspired knits and crochet items, as well as I can't wait to show you some progress that I've made on Charlotte the Fox. So until then, so long.